much. I believe the two previous speakers, Keba and the doctor, said everything that needed to be said here today. Doctor asked, why are we left behind? The answer is clear: governance is the only answer. Governance is why we are where we are today. Keba gave us the history from the Save the Gambia Democracy Project. This was pre-2003, when, of course, the first meeting of the political leaders were held in Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, at that time, even before 2003, we knew something was seriously wrong in the Gambia. But it was not. It didn't go wrong in 1994. It was wrong from 1965. Pre-1965, but 1965 when we became an independent country. There's no system here. And so that is the reason why we rally behind the Coalition for System Change, why the diaspora was invested in advocating for good governance in the Gambia, why we arrived at 2006, the year that the National Association for Democracy and Development was thinking about a coalition that would contest the elections against the Yahya Jammeh government in 2006. It never materialized because of the differences in the political vision, or the political thinking, should I say, of the political leaders. You own your parties, you don't care about the visions, the aspirations of your members. You run these parties as if they belong to you. People don't want to hear that, but that is the reality. That was what got us here. In 2025, still no progress, no development in this country that you can write about. Yes, of course we are moving. It's a country. Before you damage it, it's going to take time, and it does take time, really, to completely damage a country. So in those advocacies that were predominantly taking place in the diaspora, and mainly in the United States of America, you have the Gambia Post and the Gambia Herald. You know, those were the days. But the advocacy was good. So eventually we arrived at the National Association for Democracy and Development. The goal of NAD was the creation of an alliance to put an end to a self-perpetuating rule, to ensure the empowerment of the people so that they can participate in sustainable development. Did it work? NAD itself collapsed because of the attitude mainly of the party leaders, not the parties, the party leaders who own the parties. It was always like that. I didn't need to go back on what Keba said when Sadauda was no more. The governing party for 32 years just collapsed like that. One day it's gone, disappeared, because the government was no longer there. The NCP never came to power, Senator Mustafa Darboe'S party. But when he died, the party died with him. So the party was lucky. It was included in the 2016 coalition organizations. But really, that was just a sign. There was no NCP in 2016. There was no NCP in 2016. So, but the road to 2026, we need to approach it very, very carefully. It's not removing the president. That is the key objective. That, of course, is very important. But what we do when that government collapses, as we are hoping it will in 2026. What do? We need builders for 2026. Parties and party leaders and individuals with the capacity to build a system in this country that we can all be proud of. The white people are no better than us. We studied with them. We went to the schools, same schools and universities with them. We worked with them. We challenged them at all levels, but we challenged them within their systems. We succeeded immensely because they had systems that everybody must abide by. But yes, when achievers, men and women who performed excellently in other people's countries, when they come to their own countries, they fail miserably. That was what Dr. again said. System was designed to ensure failure when you enter that system. People ask me why you didn't work with government. Barrow wanted you to be his legal advisor. That was never told to me. But if it was, then obviously I wouldn't take it. Because I said I'm going to go to State House and be controlled by individuals who didn't complete primary school. Now that would be a tragedy if you believe in yourself, if you believe in your education. I was not going to do that. Yes. People say, well, why don't you work for the government? I said, I only work for a government that I trust. Yes. But of course I know I have other things to do. Like my good friend here, as Afal said, what did he say when people criticize him? People like Dr. Cisse and others. Obviously, what do you expect? He's a professor. He can do what he wants to do. He can work for who he wants to work for. He's under no compulsion to accept nonsense and call it development. But others really have no options. You work for the government or you struggle for your life. People would say that is not the case. It is the case. That is the reality. In the case of Doctor, it was not like, he was not working, but maybe he was aspiring to a level where his current employment or his employment then could not provide that to him. So obviously, and of course, these were men and sometimes women who participated, not necessarily in the struggle, but of course in ensuring that we do have system change in the Gambia. And all of a sudden, they are in the middle, in the bowels of that system, and they couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't change the system at all. So this is why, for us at the NUP, we believe in system change, because we believe it is the only thing that can take us to the promised land. We shouldn't be comparing individuals. Human beings are, created the same way. We all have problems. Even in the democratic countries, they all have their problems as human beings. But a system is created that is there to ensure that everybody is treated fairly within the system.